All right, today we're going to dive deep into the science of empathy. But we're not just talking about it as a feeling, right? We're talking about it as a powerful skill you can actually master. We're going to explore how to take that often overwhelming experience of feeling everything and turn it into a source of incredible clarity and really personal power. So let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room feeling totally fine and then, bam, you're hit with this wave of anxiety or sadness that just comes out of nowhere? You look around and it hits you. You've just soaked up the entire emotional climate of the room, and now you're carrying around feelings that don't even belong to you. If that sounds familiar, you know what comes next all too well. It's way more than just being sensitive. It's this state of emotional overload, and it can lead to chronic fatigue, this constant exhaustion, and a low-grade anxiety that just hums in the background. You're basically walking around as an emotional sponge. But why? Why does this even happen? I want to be super clear about this. It is not a character flaw. It's not a personal failing. It's a biological process, and it's happening deep inside your brain. So let's pop the hood and see what's really going on. Okay, say hello to your mirror neuron system, or MNS for short. These brain cells are absolutely incredible. They are the very foundation of empathy. What they do is create an internal simulation of what someone else is going through. So when you see someone smile, your mirror neurons for smiling fire, and you get a little taste of their joy. And guess what? The exact same thing happens with their pain, their stress, and their fear. And this leads directly to a phenomenon called emotional contagion. And this isn't some abstract idea. It's a measurable, physiological transfer of emotional states. I mean, studies have shown that if one person in a room is stressed out, the cortisol levels and heart rates of the other people in that room can actually change to match them. Your MNS is literally picking up and copying the emotional data all around you. So here is the most crucial point, the big takeaway. If you feel like an emotional sponge, it doesn't mean your system is broken. In fact, it's the opposite. It means your empathic hardware, your mirror neuron system, is running at an incredibly high level of efficiency. You're not flawed, you're just getting a very, very strong signal. The challenge then isn't to shut the system down. You can't, really. The real goal is to shift from being in this state of unconscious reaction to making a conscious choice. It's all about learning how to drive this powerful engine that you were born with. And this brings us to two totally different states of being. On one side, you have absorption. That's the sponge state. Your MNS is unregulated and it's causing hyperactivation in your brain's emotional centers. The result? Total overload and fatigue. But on the other side, you have attunement, the filter state. Here, you're actively using your brain's logic centers to regulate all that MNS activity. And the result is clear information without the personal cost. So how do we actually make that shift? Well, there's a simple 3-step protocol you can use. First up, detection. Just notice that sudden emotional shift, that little intuitive hit. That's your MNS firing. Second, and this is the absolute game changer, is discernment. You have to actively ask yourself, is this feeling mine or did I just pick it up? That simple question interrupts the whole automatic process. And third, detachment. If it's not yours, you just acknowledge the information like, okay, I sense sadness here, and then you consciously release it. You refuse to let it become your sadness. And listen, this isn't just some mental trick. This is pure neurology. Detection happens in your MNS and your insula, which is like your brain's emotional awareness hub. But discernment, that act of questioning, activates your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain in charge of executive function and analysis. You are literally using one part of your brain to regulate another. It's pretty amazing. So now you have the protocol for your brain. But the skill isn't just about what's happening in your head. Once you get the hang of that internal process, you can start working with another incredibly powerful system in your body to build what you might call a protective boundary. Yup, beyond your brain, your heart is a major player here. Your heart produces the body's strongest electromagnetic field, and this field changes based on your emotional state, and it can actually be measured several feet away from your body. This field is constantly talking to and interacting with the fields of other people. And this creates a really clear difference in how you experience the world. When you are stressed or anxious, your heart's field becomes chaotic and, well, disordered. This makes you wide open, totally susceptible to absorbing the chaos around you. But when you are calm and centered, your field becomes coherent and stable. And this sovereign field acts as a natural protective buffer. It lets you perceive the emotions in your environment without getting completely consumed by them. You know, this ability, it isn't some new age trend. Mastering your internal state actually places you in a long and powerful historical lineage. It completely redefines empathy, not as some modern burden, but as a truly ancient skill. Think about it. Long before we ever discovered mirror neurons, philosophers were already exploring this idea of sympathy. And if you go back even further to ancient traditions, the shaman was a master of this entire process. They were trained to intentionally enter a state of attunement to feel the distress of their community, not to be crippled by it, but to gather information for healing. They were, in essence, masters of conscious empathy. So when you boil it all down, the path from being an emotional sponge to having a sovereign self isn't about building walls or shutting down your sensitivity. Not at all. It's about upgrading your internal operating system. And it really leaves us with this final thought. The goal is not to feel less. The goal is to discern more.